Chris Bledsoe alleged that he had 3 separate UFO sightings and also had an alien encounter, but he was not the only witness that night.
Okay. Just try to remember back and tell me about what happened that night.
It was really dark out, and I happened to be looking down that way, and I saw these 2 orbs, about this big, about waist high off the ground, just floating. So all I could see was these 2 bright red orbs side by side.
Where were they when you first saw them?
Down the path there, coming down the road.
Okay.
And
so they're coming down that road and coming this way, or what?
Yeah, really slowly.
So you saw the orbs go into that area?
Go into the woods on the left side in front near the river. And then next thing you know, I didn't see any more orbs. I just saw these little creatures come walking out the woods.
We interviewed Chris Jr. to see if he could corroborate any of his father's story. But it turns out he wasn't at the riverbank. He was actually up the riverbank having his own encounter. You don't have to go all the way in there, but just kind of indicate where you were.
Back here.
Try to describe them a little bit.
It was really dark. They just looked like little creatures, little skinny. And I could see I guess their body, but not like what they were wearing.
Junior was a little bit different. If there could be one word I could use to describe Chris Jr., that would be this overwhelming sense of angst. He seemed to be having some troubles, a lot of internal battles.
Was the moon up? Was there...
Yeah, there was a moon, plenty of stars.
We weren't sure whether this really happened to him or he was making some of this up to try to corroborate his dad's story. So we think it's really important for us to bring in these other 3 witnesses who were there and find out what they saw.
Well, then Chris comes up.
It was a bit of a challenge, but we were able to track down the other 3 men and videotape what they had to say about the event.
You could see what looked like bright stars, that were scattered across the tree line. And you could just see them descending slowly.
And it just like dropping, like I said, it looked like a piece of hot steel or something,
They were orangish, and then you could see separate other colors.
It was orange and maybe yellow.
I remember being one on the left, right, one in the middle, and one toward the left.
From that tree to this tree, they were right there. You could see them just perfect right there.
That's when it freaked me out. And I saw, hey guys, look, y'all see them? Y'all see these?
I got so paranoid I opened my pocket knife.
And that's when the panic set in, There wasn't nothing normal about it.
What if someone was to say, look, all you guys saw was some flares?
I'd call them a lie.
Have you seen flares before?
Yeah.
Any way they could have been flares, just military flares?
Nah.
Have you seen flares?
We stood there for 5 or 10 minutes looking at them.
Right.
Ain't no flare gonna sit up there that long.
Right.
As I'm hearing these guys tell me their story, although there's some minor discrepancies here, basically everybody's pretty much telling us the same thing, and they're pretty much corroborating each other's stories.
There wasn't no sound. I mean, it was dead still that night.
No sound whatsoever.
Did you hear any other noise, normal noises, birds,
Nothing.
animals?
It was quiet. It was quiet. It was just, you could have heard a rat piss on a piece of cotton. That's how quiet it was.
One of the big discrepancies was the description of the large light that they saw at the top of the hill. 3 of them saw this big ball of light.
When we come out of here, before we left, there was a light right yonder. It was a big light, right there in that field there.
But Chris Sr. had this very vivid description of what the craft looked like. So we're not sure what to make of that.
Somewhere between there and the highway was the spiked object that I described.
It was just another big glowing light.
It was like a...
But then, like I said, it just kind of just...
Hold your hand up like that and kind of try to remember it.
Well, from a distance, I could put my hand around it like that, maybe.
If you look at the tree and the pole, it would have been, the nose of it would have been at the pole, and the rear end of it would have been past the tree. See the horse standing there?
Right.
That would have been about the back of it, or a little further behind him, and the front of it would have been along this pole over here. It was a good 40 feet.
The other major discrepancy we saw in the stories was this whole issue of missing time, where Chris Sr. thought he was gone for maximum 20-30 minutes from the riverbank, but his companion said he had been gone for hours, and in fact they went to go look for him.
Okay, Chris, now, you said it took you 20 minutes to get up here and back down again.
And yes, sir.
Okay, now why did the other guys think it took longer than that?
I had to been gone a long time.
I remember that night that somebody had went looking for him in the truck. The truck was parked right there. When it got dark, we kind of started wondering where Chris had got to.
It was just me and Gene down there. Donnie went up the hill to get Chris so he didn't have to walk back or whatever. Went around there, hey, where you at?
All of them said they drove up to the road at the end and drove back. And I know they left because they said they did, and the truck was moved.
At some point, those guys said that they came up the road and went up there, turned around, and went back. You're standing here the whole time.
Yes, sir.
How could they get past you without you seeing them and them not seeing you?
There's no way.
Did anybody tell you how much time had passed?
3 or 4 hours.
They thought you were gone for 3 or 4 hours.
Yes, sir.
In a case like this where there's time missing, he tells me he can't remember. He tries to remember, he thinks about it, he gets these severe smashing headaches, and he can't remember what happened up there.
So at the time, you didn't think it was strange that when you got here, it was just getting dark, and when you got back, it was very dark. That didn't strike you as strange or odd?
I have a missing spot in my brain, and I've told Richard this time and again. I have a wall. I want to know what happened there. I'm lost for time at that point.
I feel for him. I feel sorry for him because I can see that he's really struggling with something. But I know that's something that we probably could explore with some psychological help. Now that we've finished interviewing the other witnesses, and we've pretty much gone as far as we can with them, we want to go back and focus on Chris Bledsoe because that's where we think we're going to find our answers. In cases like this where there's potential for having close encounters, what we found is that the use of regression hypnosis can sometimes help us to uncover missing memories.
The rear end of it would have been past.
Chris Sr. just seems to be really well known within that community. He's a prominent businessman, makes him a credible witness. We're not sure if what happened to Chris Bledsoe is real or fantasy, but we're hoping that regression hypnosis will provide that answer.
You do the regression hypnosis, you basically put the client in a state of unconsciousness. Sometimes they'll refer to it as put him in a trance. And the psychologist can basically talk to the individual and take the information off their subconscious mind.
You're in control here. And all I'll be doing is just helping you to get focused.
Dr. Michael O'Connell is a Harvard-trained psychologist. He's got 15 years experience and he's probably done a regression hypnosis on somewhere around 250 individuals, and we are very lucky to have him.
Yes. You're okay. You're okay.
The regression hypnosis took place on July 14, 2008, and we videotaped it.
Where were we going? I tried to hide. I couldn't. They were looking at me. There's 4 of them. They're so tall. Skinny.
How tall are they?
Real tall. 7 foot or better. They're not human. They're not human.
4 of them.
Uh-huh. I just want to go home. Let me go. I want to see my son.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want?
Wherever he was when they were doing this explains why. I mean, that would explain why when they come up the hill looking for him, he wasn't there.
What does the room look like?
It's round. It's dark in areas, but I can see lights, controls. I can feel no movement, none.
Okay, Michael, go ahead, push it to the limit.
Are they telling you why you were chosen?
Uh-huh.
What reason was that?
They're my guardians.
Looking after you,
Uh-huh.
your well-being.
Uh-huh. Every time I get sad, they're here. I know I've been sad. Is that why you come?
Are they the same ones that you saw in your backyard later?
That's their children.
Their children?
Uh-huh.